just wish I was able to do more by myself. By the end of next week, this pile of cedar posts should be a fence line, and I'm really excited about that. Hey guys, it's Katie Kate on the Homestead. It is hot as heck here, and I'm just out sitting on the post pile. Scott brought me by this tool today, so I've been out muscling through this field over here, trying to measure the perimeter of the fencing that I have planned so I can go out and mark where we need to dig the holes to sink the posts before we stretch the fence. I'm really excited about this project. It was supposed to happen back at the end of May, but of course, because of the setback of Scott's fire, everything has been delayed, which segues me into my topic for today, which is a frustrating thing for me about homesteading. And that is that I just wish I was able to do more by myself. I did end up finishing all of the windows on the house. After I did the first two, I did the third in the front, and then I realized there was one more window that was put in from what it looks like at the same time, and sure enough, that one was actually the worst of all of them. So I got that done as well. Just trying to do what I can, keep myself busy and inspired and motivated. So recently, I was having a bit of a slumpy week. It was just after I lost my cat, and I was feeling a little glum. And I kept seeing things online saying, do something that makes you happy. And so I started thinking about that. What could I do to make myself happy? And I realized that all of the things that I used to use, all of my go tos, the things I enjoyed doing, are now my homestead chores. So in the past, I would go to the garden and I would garden, where now gardening is just a part of my day to day. And honestly, sometimes I can have gardening fatigue. The other thing is, the way that I have the garden planted, there's not always a lot to do in the garden. I walk around and I could mow the orchard today, but it doesn't really need to be done, and it's been really dry. I don't want to just spin my wheels, keeping myself busy doing things that don't need to be done. Well, this little situation has somehow evaded me. I got tent caterpillars up here, which I'm going to get rid of. So gross. They're all hatched out. Poor apple tree. I don't see any more right now. Guess I'll do a quick walk around, see if I see any more. Sometimes I'm just bored of picking berries or preserving or harvesting. And honestly, when I think about what makes me happy, I really can't think of anything other than just enjoying the peace and doing what I do. Now, typically on a good week, that works just fine. I've talked before about how I don't need to be excited. I prefer being peaceful rather than having the highs and lows. But in those moments where I'm feeling a little bit blue, that's when oftentimes we look to have something to look forward to, I guess, for escapism or for whatever reason to keep ourselves uplifted. The fact of the matter is, I don't want to leave this property. I enjoy being here and I don't want to travel. I can't think of anything that I really want to do that would be really exciting, make me excited, if that makes sense. I've been trying to figure out how I want to express today's thoughts, so just bear with me. Rosie's kicking her water bucket. She needs a drink. Hey, Legs. Kicking over your water bowl. Let me get you some more water. Hey, you. Hi. Hey, Rosie, need a drink? Hello, baby. Hey, Rosie. Hello, sweetie. Hello. Nah, don't do that. Hey, buddy. Don't do that, please. I know you're just trying to be affectionate. Hey. Don't do that. Stop it. What are you doing? Excuse me. Excuse me. I don't have any food for you. Holy smokes, guy. Go get you some water. My goodness. So, again, on a normal week, peace is enough. And so it just led me to think about in those moments when maybe it's not enough. I don't really have something in my life right now that I'm excited about. Bear with me. So I was talking to Scott about this, and he was lecturing me, telling me that it's probably time for me to get off the property more and find some other things that might interest me, give me something else to look forward to. And he was talking about his hobbies off the property. One of those is hunting. And we were talking about him taking me out on a hunt. He thinks that I would really enjoy that because I like the quiet and I like being in nature. And he thinks that I would really enjoy the animal watching. So that is something that I plan to do this fall, even if it's just to go sit in a tree stand. The other thing I think that I would really enjoy is probably learning to shoot and getting my firearm license. I think that as a sport, I would find that challenging and probably fun. Now, whether or not I could actually harvest an animal is a whole other story. But I think just learning the fundamentals of marksmanship would be something that I would enjoy. So that has kind of clocked on my radar recently as something I might want to look into. As far as homesteading goes, as I said, there can be a little bit of fatigue, especially when all my favorite things become my chores. I try to do as much as I can by myself, and certainly since I've been here, there have been many tasks that I have been able to do myself. Putting in the garden, cleaning up the garbage, taking care of the animals, all of these new challenges. I'm kind of to the point now where I can get through my chores in just a few hours of the day, so I have a lot of time left over, and I really wish that there was more that I could do by myself. For example, I really wish that I could use a gas-powered chainsaw and block up some of this wood to be preparing for winter right now. But unfortunately, that's not something I know how to do. I'm really inspired by a lot of homesteaders I see, some channels. One in particular, these ladies are in their 70s, and she just stopped blocking her own logs for winter firewood 5 years ago or something. And here I am, 20 years younger, and it's something I can't do myself. Now, I understand that these women have been doing it for a long time and they have a lot more experience than me. It's a lot different than trying to learn that skill right now. And Scott has impressed upon me how dangerous it can be to cut into a pile of wood like this that I have. And it's not the way to learn. I know that if Scott thought that I could do it myself, he would tell me to. If he thought I was being a pussy, he would tell me, but he also doesn't want me to die with a chainsaw to the face. So I trust his judgment. What that means is that I do have to wait until he is able to help me. And thank goodness I have him, because what if I didn't have him? He's been an absolute godsend for things that I'm not able to tackle myself. The other thing I'd really like to do is move these cement footings back by my fire pit, and I just can't do it myself. I've been trying to rack my brain about how I can shimmy or drag or somehow move these footings to the back, but they're so heavy. Now, if I had a tractor that I knew how to drive, I could certainly do these things, but because I don't, and I don't know how to do that, I am left to wait for help. And that can be a little bit frustrating, especially when I find that I have all this extra time. I am quite active, so I do like to have things to do all the time. So it's not necessarily a setback, but it is something that I'm struggling with 3 years in, as I'm kind of getting through everything that I can do by myself. There is still quite a bit of garbage that I'm always finding. I finally got this old pool liner that's been an eyesore for 3 years. I finally got that dragged over by the chicken coop. It dried out enough that I was actually able to move it. And of course, there's a ton of garbage underneath it. Even when I dug up the septic system, there was literally garbage in the dirt. I don't know how this much garbage gets on a property. Guess it gives me something to do. That I don't need a tractor for. So I don't know. I guess I just wanted to talk about how my happy activities that used to be my escape, things like getting in the garden, are really now just my day-to-day chores. And I guess I'm trying to figure out how we continue to grow and stay inspired. I don't need to be super excited all the time, but it is nice when I'm looking forward to something. That's happened a couple times recently. Last week, I had both kids in the house to celebrate a birthday, and I really enjoyed that. I always really do enjoy having the two of them here under my roof, and I was excited for that. When Scott stopped by a couple days ago to tell me that he had the equipment to do the fencing, I was actually pretty excited. I got pretty jacked up about it. And I know it's not so much about doing the actual project, but seeing the results, because reclaiming this field, this overgrown pasture, will just make me so happy. And so I am looking forward to busting into that project. I don't know if this makes a whole lot of sense. Just some food for thought, especially if you are a person who watches my videos and thinks, oh gosh, I would love to garden all day and take care of animals all day. And I endorse it completely. It's a wonderful life. 3 years in, I am to the point where I wish that I could do more, I guess. And so we'll see if it's just the season of homesteading for me, how things evolve. I'll keep you posted. Maybe I'll get my firearms license. Maybe I'll start learning how to shoot. Maybe that'll be a new hobby. I've had my guitar out. That's something that makes me happy. So I've been making music a little bit. But I am finding that I have a lot of time that I feel I would like to be putting to better use. I'm really excited to show you this fence project. And as I said, that should take up a lot of my time next week. So pretty soon I'll be able to unveil that. Once I get the fence in, I will be able to go to this large outbuilding and start prepping it to be a barn. It needs to be cleaned out. There's still some junk in it. Once we've pushed down some of the grass and got the fence put in, it'll be easier for me to get in and out of there. At this point, I don't think that it will be ready this year, but hopefully I can get it prepped so that next year it can become a second barn, and then I will possibly be considering adding some more animals, which will be a whole other adventure. So that's something to look forward to. Just trying to keep it real out here, sharing the lifestyle. And part of the reason why I have this YouTube channel is to share my story, share my experience, whether that is to inspire anyone who has ambitions to do the same thing, to keep it real with the challenges, and yeah, that's that. Well, I hope this makes sense. We'll see when I go to edit it all together. But until next time, happy, healthy living. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe, staying kind, keeping it real. I'm Katie Kate on the Homestead. I can't believe we're almost in the last month of summer. I'll see you later.